Welcome to the Coffee with Karen podcast, a weekly chat show discussing everything from holistic health to current affairs from a mental, physical and spiritual perspective. Get your weekly cup of positivity with a sprinkling of woo-woo.
Welcome to the show. It's Monday and this is going out on Mintwave Radio. You can go to the website or just ask Alexa for Mintwave. Or if this is via podcast, you can download the app for Apple and Android. And please subscribe to any that take your fancy. So KarenRobertsCoaching.com /Mintwave-radio. Now today's episode is 142. And today we have Onnie Michalski, a licensed therapist, life and wellness coach. So I'm your host. I'm Karen Roberts. We just provide a platform for coaches to get their message heard to those who need it. Now, today we're going to be talking about a couple of things, actually. Sleep worries, why our mind starts racing the minutes our head hits the pillow and what we can do about it if that's ever happened to you. And also putting our inner mean girl in her place, how to get past the self-doubts and self-criticism that keeps us from fully loving ourselves. So, Onnie, welcome to the show.
Yeah, it's great to be here, Karen.
So, Onnie she's a mum of 6. Can you believe that? A mum of 6. She's a licensed therapist who understands the challenges of being a woman in today's world. She's also a life and wellness coach, and she's just on a mission to help mums escape the do-it-all mentality and find their way back to themselves through the Mums Without Capes movement. Great name. Is empowering women to slow down, recognize their worth and break through limiting beliefs so that they can find their power and become the best versions of themselves. So, Onnie, first of all, I'm going to presume this is through experience with 6 kids, right?
Yes.
If you could share with the audience a little bit about your backstory, how you came to be doing what you're doing now.
Sure. My kids are 20. My oldest 2 are adults, so 23 and 19. We've been married for 24 years, same partner. And then we've got 2 twins, 16-year-olds. And one of the part of the twins is our only son. And so all the rest are girls. And then we also have a 13-year-old and a 9-year-old. You got to watch. She just had a birthday a few weeks ago. So 9-year-old is our youngest. And a little tearful, our 9-year-old every year. I'm like, oh, she's our baby, which she's struggling right now with being the youngest, but that's all. Yes. So for a long time, I would say for the first 10 years of my wearing my mom hat, I had tremendous guilt. Let's just go with the guilt. There was a lot of other feelings that came up as well, but being able to, I completely lost myself. I lost myself with my mom hat. I over-identified with my role as a mom. And as by doing that, I lost everything else. I lost myself. And with that came a lot of the guilt, a lot of the shame of, when the overwhelm hits, I felt like I could not step away. I felt that I had all of these unrealistic expectations swirling around in my mind, and it kept me in this perpetual motion of having to do more because I felt like I had to do more in order to be this good mom that I had in my mind. And at that point, I was homeschooling, I was running a business with my husband, I was leading Girl Scouts, and then I was involved in our community. I was doing a lot of things to the point like everyone was like, how do you do everything you do? And I'm like, I just do. This is part of motherhood. Like what? I didn't see anything different. Like I didn't see anything wrong with it. But inside I was constantly stressed, in this feeling of not doing enough and feeling that stretched thin, like feeling like just I was pulled in so many different directions, but I felt like this was just a season of life. But the thing is, I continued, right now I still have another 10 years until my kid gets 18. And I'm like, there has to be another way. Because for me, like wearing that mom hat got stretched out so thin because we had kids every 3 or 4 years. So I'm like 30 years into to be in this on you're always a mom. You're always a mom. But like in the trenches, it's a long time. And I'm like, I need to figure out something because I can't go on. I can't, this isn't something that is sustainable, what I was doing. And so I'd say it was around the 10 or 11 year mark that I started diving into personal development and start realizing what it was that was keeping me in this super mom mode, in my like holding my cape tight. And I started doing things for me. So I started engaging in self-care. It started with a Zumba class. And I really wanted to go to the Zumba class, but I couldn't figure out how to do that in order to get all the stars lined up, per se, like how to make sure like everything was done at home, everything was clean, everything's I struggled with a lot of perfectionism. Make sure all the lessons were done, make sure all the laundry was done. How do I get everything done so that I can go to the Zumba class? Right? And I said it was this one magical night where I was able to, everything seemed like it was good and I was able to go. Just by doing that, by pushing through and like going, I the positive reinforcement that I got, the fun and the joy, and realizing that the world didn't fall apart when I stepped away was enough to realize I can do this again. I can do this again. And then I started structuring my life and going through, especially the mind piece, to be able to repeat and continue and start doing more things that filled my soul. Because for so long, yes, motherhood is purposeful, but it wasn't my total purpose. I felt like at that point, like started realizing like I was meant for more. I'm not just a mom, because I was a stay-at-home mom as well. So that was a lot of things going on. So then let's fast forward. So I became, because I was let's say a super mom, like I always was putting things, I was very active. I quickly became a Zumba instructor, right?
Hey.
I was leading, we had moved across the country at that point, and I took on some board positions. My kids went back to school. We still own the business. It was like a lot of things were still going on. And I was like, this still feels overwhelming. So it was an intentional, that slowing down piece, and realizing like a lot of what I was doing was people pleasing. So that came into play, the people pleasing, the perfectionism, those unrealistic expectations that I was holding myself to, the double standards, like how I defined good mom. It took me a few years to start working through those things and start separating myself, my identity, from that mother, right? So of course, I still identify as a mom. I always will, but I was more than that. And so 2017, I decided to go get licensed as a therapist. I started getting the itch, like I've got to do something bigger. At that point, I was teaching young girls dance and I was also doing Zoom, but I was like, I want to do a studio. I was teaching kickboxing and all stuff. I want to open a studio. I want to do something. And my husband's like, why don't you go do something that you actually went to school for? Because I got my master's back in 2003. So at that point, I was like, all right, I will get licensed as a therapist. And I did that. And I also got certified as a health coach around the same time. And then in 2019, I was like, I'm going to start my own business. I had accumulated, like, we had to get 3,000 hours to get licensed here in the States or in Montana. And this is like a long story. Sorry, Karen.
No, it's great. This is it. It's about sharing your story.
So then in 2019, I was like, all right, I'm done working for this agency. I had gotten my license, taken the national counselor exam, all of that. But I was like, what do I want to do? So originally, when I first decided to start my business, and it was just one business at that point, I was like coaching and counseling. I hired a business coach and I decided to focus. They were like, you got to choose a niche and all of that. And I was like, I had lost a lot of weight at that point. I'm like, let me do weight loss. Like I'll do weight loss for women. And I zeroed in on that. But then I started gaining weight and I was like, it was worse than imposter syndrome because I was like, what is going on? And it was that whole work-life balance, like running a business, like how was I going to do this? And I was like, started just doing some more kind of soul searching. And I was like, what it was, I'm like, I really worked on taking off my supermom cape. I really worked on like the people pleasing and like all of the things that were keeping me from being able to prioritize myself. And that was when Moms Without Capes was born. because I was like, this is where I want to be. I have, like you mentioned, like I have the experience of motherhood, like navigating motherhood, even though I still have no idea what I'm doing. But I was able
To any of us.
exactly. So I'm like, I have that. I'm like, I have this experience of, I have the mental health piece, all of the cognitive therapy, the cognitive behavioral tools and strategies, because that's where I lean in on my counseling. So I'm like, I have what we're going to talk about today, like the inner mean girl, the sleep worries. Like I know how to challenge those thoughts that come up. So I have that mindset piece. But then I also have this like desire, this the passion to help other moms and to help other moms who are stuck in thinking they have to do all the things in order to be a good mom, in order to be the amazing mom that I already know that we are, that they stop themselves from prioritizing themselves. They stop themselves from stepping into their potential because of all of these feelings and these self-doubts that we have. So I'm like, let me take all of this and create a program or create a movement, let's just say that, to where to help moms recognize their own worth and recognize that they are worthy of prioritizing and worthy of focusing on but in addition to all of the other things that we have going on. So
Love
there you
that.
go.
And
There you
that's
go. That's where I am.
and I didn't know that about the fitness and the weight loss. And you know what? That is so similar to my story. I
Yeah.
come from the fitness world.
Okay.
I had my own fitness studio for 8 years in the Algarve. I was just launching, I'd gone and retrained in studying the ketogenic diet for health, autophagy and fasting for health. I was just launching running live events. I'm a people
Okay.
person. So running live events, and then lockdown hit. And then I fell off the wagon because I was ordering a bottle of Prosecco a day. And
Yes.
I fell off because I'm an emotional eater. And
Mm,
same thing, I put on weight. And then I was like, can't ethically promote
that's what.
something that I'm not doing. Oh no, I've invested thousands into this, into training. And
Yes.
oh, what am I going to do? And yeah, weirdly enough, that's how the summit came up and then into what we're doing now. Isn't it funny that sometimes I think it's the universe giving us a nudge
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
say, you're enjoying teaching that and you're enjoying doing that, but it's not
It's
your
not your
way.
thing. Yeah.
It's not actually your thing. Let's push you into this one. But
Mhm.
yeah, how funny. So now, like you say, you've got a movement. And I think it is. Yeah, we all think it's ourselves that do it, isn't it? No one else. We can't blame
Yes.
anybody else. We put so much
We
pressure
try
on
to.
ourselves.
We try to
Yeah.
blame it.
Yeah.
Like,
It would
oh,
be
it's
nice,
my
wouldn't it?
husband. Yeah. Yeah.
It would be nice. But yeah, we put all these, like you said, but again, it's all perception. Oh, yes, this thing of being an amazing mother means that you're a taxi service, you're this
Yes.
or that, you've got to
Yeah.
have a perfect home.
Right.
Really, what are the important things? What are the really important? And again, like you say, we stop ourselves taking time out, self-care, as though that's all we come last. But actually,
Yes.
as you've just shared there, really, it'll all come from that because if you're happy,
Yeah.
have a knock-on effect. You're going to have better relationships with your kids, with your partner, all of these
Absolutely.
things. Why do you think that we have been conditioned to think that, oh, we must come last? Whereas actually it's the opposite. You can't give from an empty cup. We're
Right.
contradicting ourselves, aren't we?
Yeah, absolutely. And the what that comes from, it comes from a lot of different places. It comes from our own experiences growing up, like how we saw our own mom, or how we sometimes with my clients, like I love going here because some of them are like, I want to be the mom that I didn't have. And then others are like, I want to be the mom that I saw my own mom be. And I have a podcast and I did my 101st episode. I interviewed my mom. And before we got on, I was like, Mom, I always ask my guests, what do they do for self-care? And we both started laughing because she's I don't do that. I'm like, we have to think. I'm like, I know you do. I'm like, you may not have done it like back in it. And for her, it was like just taking like little naps or like allowing herself to rest And in her house, she lives in Pennsylvania. I'm in Montana. So like I visit her a few times a year and she's got these recliners. So she will allow herself to go and rest and just take like a power nap a few times a day at this point. But I'm like, growing up, like I don't ever remember my mom doing anything for herself. And
Right.
I'm like, I just know that's part of the ticket. That's part of that has to be part of my life, is to be able to have that cup and fill it, continually fill it. Because I realized what it was like not to have that. And I don't want to be there. I didn't want to be there. So for my own thing. So that was like something that I was like, I know I want to do things differently. I know that I want to, but it comes from also culture, right? We get stuck in this hustle culture and the compare game keeps us trapped as well. When we're constantly comparing, like, oh, our kids have to have a leg up. So like they have to do music lessons, they have to do language lessons, they have to do sports. Like we want to create these well-rounded kids. And so that keeps us, like you mentioned, chauffeuring, scheduling, going to meetings, going to practices, like that keeps us in this perpetual state of doing. Also, just being, you know, I mentioned the feelings of inadequacy or the beliefs of inadequacy. And doing things, taking action is one of the easiest ways, like where we feel like we are fighting against that belief of inadequacy. And so we're like, we'll just do more. We'll just do more. And when we're doing all of these things for everyone else, the first thing to go is ourselves. Because we're like, oh, that's not very important. If you don't believe that you are worthy of prioritizing, you're not going to prioritize. Moms would say, I don't have time. Number one reason moms give for not engaging in self-care or pursuing hobbies or living their passion is because they don't have time. So when I first started out, I was like, all right, I'm going to create this course because I can manage my time like no other. Like I keep my schedule to a fault sometimes. My husband's, do you have to schedule everything? I'm like, yes, because if it doesn't get written down, it will not get done. So I'm like, I can time block, I can buy planners, I am all about them. And I'm like, I can help moms manage their time. If that's a problem, if that's their problem, let's do it. And I created a course and it was a flop. And went back to the drawing board and I was like, what? And I'm like, I'm working with super moms. Like they obviously can schedule. They have lots of things on their schedules. They got to keep track. But it was that mindset piece that was missing. Like they didn't believe that they were worthy of prioritizing or putting on their own schedule. They may have been making time to binge watch the newest Netflix show, but when it came time to doing something for themselves or pursuing a hobby or like getting into something that's going to make them feel alive, that's when they're like, no, other things are more important than that. I've got to make sure that my kid is a black belt in karate, right? Like, so it's really that mindset piece and recognizing that you're worthy of prioritizing. And like you mentioned, when you fill your own cup, it has that ripple effect because you fill it to the point of overflowing and you're in a better, it has such a profound effect on your mental health. I have moms that come, I just keep yelling at my kids, like that rage piece, like they're short tempered or they're very short fused.
Well, you're going to be resenting. You're going to be
Yes.
resenting in a subconsciously, and then it's just, but it's going to come out in those ways.
Yes.
Which is why then, okay, go to the root, have time for yourself, and then you won't have that resentment, and then you won't be yelling at your kids.
Yeah, that resentment piece is huge. Even with my husband, like there was times where he would sit down like to watch a football game and I'd be like passively aggressive, like vacuuming like right in front of him. And like, can you not see this mess? It caused so much friction in my relationship because I wasn't giving myself space. Not that I wanted to watch a football game, but like giving myself space to do what made me feel alive or what I enjoyed. Because I felt like there was so much other stuff that needed to get done in order to be that mom that I felt that my kids needed. And I wasn't
do you
letting
think there's a
myself.
difference between men and, yeah, I do. And rightly, I'm not putting men down for this. I'm just saying that from what I see, men have lesser struggle with that side of things because they will just go and do. They will just go and play golf, go and do that. It does seem to be, correct me if I'm wrong, that it is the mums that, and it's the mindset issue that, oh, that they shouldn't be. Whereas
Yes.
it seems that men will just
You're
do that anyway.
I agree, but the funny thing is, I won't get too far into this, but have you ever heard of fair play method? The fair play
No.
method. Okay, so this is a way that tackles the unequal division of labor within a household. And it's like a system that I actually am in the midst of getting certified. The last 3 days I spent in get the training of it. It's a system developed by Eve Rotsky, who is like an activist, and it helps almost gamify or create the system where the super women, like the moms who are doing all of the things, it divides it into 100 tasks. And it really is this communication piece of helping couples create more equity in the home. Now, I'm not going to say equality because it's not 50-50, but be able to have those conversations. So the reason I said this, because what the goal of this system is to be able to help moms and dads have space to engage in their unicorn space, which is activities that make them feel like you, like that make you feel unique and make you allow for self-expression, self-exploration, things that make you feel alive. And that's the whole premise of this whole system, is to allow each of the members of this couple to be able to engage in unicorn time. And so when I was doing the system with my husband, because I'm like, if I'm getting trained with this, we're going to do this at home, right? And we had these unicorn cards. And I was like, all right, I'm like, this is the card that you hold. If we put the system in place, you get to choose, like, where do you want to put your time? Like the time that if we're both working at like dividing this up, like the child care, the household domestic, like the domestic responsibilities, we need to identify like what are some of the things that you enjoy doing. And he got stumped at that point because he has no idea what he would do at that time, even though I felt like it was mostly women that struggle with that. He's like, you've been going through this for years, like figuring out, like on this journey of like self-exploration and self-discovery and all the things that I've been doing, personal development, whereas he's not there. And you've had years to think about this and give yourself like permission to even do it, permission to allow yourself like to be unavailable, to be able to engage in the activities that you do. You are putting me on the spot right now, like having me think of what would I do? And I'm like, I want you to give yourself permission to dream, to figure it out. Because his thing is like the provider, right? And that's like his number one thing. And so I feel that, yes, I think many women that it does fall a lot, like women are typically the ones that struggle with this, but I don't think.
Or do they just take it on? That might not be because the man is not, I'm not saying that it's almost like they're controlling. Again, they think
Yes.
that is their role. So then they're controlling it and then feeling resentful, but actually you didn't ask him.
Yes. I just learned this term, maternal gatekeeping, which I love. So maternal gatekeeping is all about that resistance of giving up control, like allowing, like you're gatekeeping, like you're like, I will do it all. And I heard this quote yesterday and it hit me because it was like who had implemented this fair play method system was like, afterwards, I was okay with doing it all or taking care of everything, but I wasn't okay with my daughters seeing me take it all or do it all. And I was like, that is so true, because I don't want my daughters to have to enter into a relationship thinking that they have to burn out or like that they have to be doing so many things to be amazing. And that thought alone was like, this is a reason why I want to make the changes in my own life, because I'm a model for my daughters. I've got 5 and my son. I don't want my son to go into a relationship thinking that his wife has to do it all. Because
Absolutely.
we want to create these like cultural and systematic like changes that are bigger than our families, like our little core family. And it starts with us. It starts with us.
And it's like you say, if you're not aware, like you're just doing what your mum did. I think that's what it is. It's just awareness. None of us do it deliberately. I was definitely one of those. I will deal with everything.
Yes.
And then, yes, that's going to breed. And that did. Yeah. In the end, that bred resentment. But it was my fault.
Yeah. How many times you say, it's just easier to do it myself. It's easier to do it myself. But you got to be aware of that. Is it really? Like, start questioning.
Is it really? So today's topics, I know we're going to go through a couple of things. We're going to cover quite a lot on today. It's really interesting. So first of all, sleep worries, and it probably ties into a lot of what we've just been talking about anyway. Because if there's any listeners out there, I'm sure this has never happens to anybody ever, that your mind starts racing the moment your head hits the pillow.
So
why?
The number one thing is because you're not giving yourself space in the day to think, right? There's so much chaos and so many things going on in your life that you don't take the time to think about your thoughts. And so when your head hits your pillow, it's like your mind comes alive and you're finally giving me a chance to process. And so our mind starts racing of all the things that are reflecting on the day, all the things that you're worrying about in the future, everything that's happening in the morning. And then you start thinking, oh, I'm never going to get to sleep. And you start calculating the amount of hours. I have to wake up at 6 to get everything done. Now I'm only 5 hours of sleep, and now I'm not going to be at my best. So you start worrying about the consequences of not getting enough sleep. So you're worrying about what happened, the past, the future. Yeah. And all of these thoughts are just ruminating in your mind on the soundtrack, and it prevents you from getting to sleep, getting the sleep that you need. And I'm a huge advocate of self-care. And the reason I focus on sleep is because I feel that it's a foundational piece of self-care, that so much stems from us being able to get the quantity and the quality of sleep, that when we start shifting our sleep patterns and our habits and creating that time for our body to repair and our mind, like those neurons to reattach, like all of the things that happen in our sleep, it's so important, and it's going to have this huge effect on our daytime, our mood, our decision making, our ability to concentrate, all the things that were required, like as a mom, as a human, depends on making sure that we're getting enough sleep.
You can remember, okay, your youngest is 9 now, so it's still a while since I can remember the sleepless nights. You can remember having a baby. The one thing you need is sleep to be able to deal. Because you're almost getting trained then to not say. I still don't. I have to say, I said before we started recording, my daughter works in a pub so she doesn't come home till 3 o'clock in the morning. And so I was totally out, but I got woken up. I think she wanted my charger, actually. Because it's funny, I was such a heavy sleeper before I had children. When you have children, obviously when they're babies, they didn't even need to cry. The moment I heard it, you're tuned in to wake and it doesn't seem to pass.
No.
So she laughs at me because the moment I've heard that key in the door, I'm awake.
Yeah, even like when they move out, like I'm still like, oh, are they out driving? Every time a siren goes by, like that worrying just doesn't stop. And that was funny because you said about the newborn drop. I was like 2 nights ago, I was up at 3 a.m. helping my teenager with chemistry. She was like doing chemistry homework, and I'm like sitting at the dining room table, like she showed me, and I'm like trying to like see, like my wife in my eyes. I'm like, wait, let me just adjust. I'm like, this is the middle of the night.
It's crazy, isn't it? And so that is it. It just knocks you off everything. You need uninterrupted
you need to get
a good sleep. You need to get into that deep sleep, not the sort of just semi. It's not so good. So what is it that is going on though in the head? What are we worrying about? Like you say, it's stuff that's gone.
Stuff that's gone,
and then imagine stuff then.
The what ifs and the consequences of not getting enough sleep. And then this also ties in with our other topic of the quiet your inner mean girl, because what we're doing here is we're becoming aware of those thoughts. So the same thing with the inner me, like the self-doubts, the self-criticism, the thoughts that we're having. We need to bring awareness. Like you said, the very first step is awareness. And whether you are lying in bed, sleeping, or trying to sleep, worrying, or you are gearing up to do something and all of the self-doubts come and they start crippling, the inner mean girl starts shouting loud and clear. Both of them start with that awareness piece and what are you thinking? So When you are in bed, I would say the first thing is to create room in your day to actually think about your thoughts. And this sounds really a crazy idea, but actually set aside some time for a worry period. And this could happen in the morning or whatever time you are on the ball or you're at your best, where you're clear headed, where you're thinking, okay, I'm going to set aside no longer than 20 minutes. And you're going to think about the thoughts that are keeping you up at night, which brings me back to the nighttime. Keep a piece of paper and a pen right next to your bed and turn on the nightlight and just do a brain dump. What are the thoughts that are coming up to your cup and coming up in your mind? Is it that you are worried that you're going to forget to put the permission slip in your kid's backpack? Are you worried that you have to make that phone call in the morning? Are you thinking about the day before and trying to think out of the top of my head? Are you worried about how that presentation went the day before? Right. So you're just putting some keywords down on a piece of paper and doing this brain dump. So then during your worry period, you are going to take out that piece of paper and you're going to go through those worries one by one. And you're going to start just giving yourself time to think about them and giving yourself time to process them. And also, more importantly, to challenge them. So you're going to say, one, that phone call. Is this something that you can put on your schedule? Can you use your phone and set an alarm for it? What's something that you can do to help to get that off of your mind, knowing that it's on paper or that it's scheduled or that it's done, right? Like I already did this morning, because some of your worries are not even going to hold any weight. When you go to worry about them during your worry period, you're going to realize that some of them don't even apply anymore, or that they're really not worth worrying about. Like that presentation you did yesterday, you may have done some mental filtering and you may have been focusing only on the negative pieces, but yet when you go sit down and worry about them, you'll see like you can give yourself some credit for the things that you did well. You can expand your focus and start focusing on some of the positive things that you did in that, to be able to affirm, okay, I did do good. I even got some confirmation from my boss afterwards that I did well on that. I got some feedback from my coworkers. They all said that I killed that presentation. But at night, when you are tired, when you've had a long day, it's hard to have that energy to even fight against those thoughts. And so that's why they just keep playing. But when you're
We're
at
so
your
hard
best,
on ourselves.
we are our own worst critic. And as moms, we really have a hard time, I think as dads too, really have a hard time focusing on what we did well and giving ourselves credit. But when you start doing that, when you start switching the soundtrack and shifting the way we feel about ourselves and what we think about ourselves, you're going to see that those worries come less and less often. Because the thing is, those worries are based on beliefs that we hold. And as we start challenging the thoughts that we're having or the things that we're worrying about, those beliefs start shifting. We start coming up with that evidence that supports new beliefs. And so you're going to start having different thoughts because those beliefs are beginning to shift. And because they're based on those beliefs, we tend to have the same things happen over and over again. And when that happens at night, you can just remind, or even during the day, when the mean girl's talking, you will have already spent your energy and your time challenging those thoughts. So it's going to come back to you. It may take a little bit of time in the beginning, but as you continue to reinforce those new beliefs, those old beliefs are not going to have any weight. They're not going to have any substance. So they're going to start, happening less and less. But it all starts with being aware and giving yourself the time to reflect and challenge.
And it's not going to happen overnight, as you said.
not.
It's something to belief is just a thought we keep thinking over and over and over. So to challenge it, it's not going to happen the first time, but
They're not, because
getting
they're
into
deeply ingrained.
creating some new habits. But
Yes.
do you not find that's the thing? It's like a lot of these things, they are actually, when the way you've just explained that just made it just sound so easy, which it is, right?
Yeah.
But it's almost like we are, as human beings, we just seem to be resistant to the change. No matter what the change, you could say, this thing is going to take you 5 minutes. 5 minutes a day, and it will change everything. People would still resist
it.
spending that.
I don't have time to do that. I don't have time to do that.
I've got time. Yeah, I've got time. Yeah, you have. Everybody can find 5 minutes, because that's what it sounds like you're saying, is just really, but it's actually taking that time out to consciously book that time in to sit down and do the thing. Because hearing you say it, as easy as it sounds, isn't going to change anything.
Yeah.
You know, watching back at this podcast or re-listening to it, it's not going to change anything unless you do the thing. Right. And that seems to be the challenge that most people have, is that just, it's funny, isn't it? Why are we like this? It's just, we could be given the secret to everlasting life, but all it's going to take you is this thing that's going to take you 5 minutes. People would still not do it. Even if the promise was that big.
Yes. Because these beliefs are deeply ingrained and it took years to form them, right? But the thing is, unless you recognize that they're not serving you anymore, you're going to continue on autopilot. You're going to keep doing the same actions or taking the same action, thinking the same thoughts, unless you intentionally stop. And that's the great thing about or accountability groups, is like to be able to set yourself aside that time to move towards who you want to be. And to keep you accountable, like, because you're saying, like, it is very easy, but are we going to do that? And the reason we have that is because it keeps us safe. We don't do it because it keeps us in our comfort zone. And as we know, nothing grows in your comfort zone. You've got to push yourself out of that comfort zone. And sometimes you need some help. You need some coaching, or you need somebody else to hold you accountable so that you continue to be consistent with doing what it is that's going to get you to that next level.
100%. And that's why I think the coaching industry is just going to grow and grow, because it is, we all need a coach. Like even with blood fitness, I've got the knowledge, 25 years in the industry.
We know what we need to do.
I know what I need to do. What would it be that's stopping me from doing it? Yes. Well, really, if I was going to be really committed, I would go and get a PT, because I don't have the knowledge, but because of that accountability factor and having somebody to turn up for. And it's the same with this. Sometimes, I think all the time, everybody needs that help in the beginning. If I was, I don't know, they say different things, you know, how long it's going to take to create a new habit. And I know they say 21 days. I'm not so convinced. But anyway, it's like, how long's a piece of string? However, I used to say, like, my willpower, I would say, only has a 2-week stretch max, maybe 10 days. And again, that would be the thing. That would be that's the piece, is that minding the gap between your willpower when you're starting something new and you're excited about it, and you might sit down and do those things initially. And then there's that, everybody has their marker, and mine, I think, is quite short. It's only about 10 days, maybe 2 weeks tops. But there's a gap between it. It's minding that
actually
gap
making it become a master at
until
it.
It's habitual. Isn't that funny? It's just, we are funny creatures, really, aren't we? That we just need that extra time, because until it's lodged in that subconscious, you no longer have to think about it. Even that, again, like you said, our beliefs are so ingrained. We could do something for a few months and still get complacent and fall back to a default setting, aren't we? So sleep is going to be a big thing. It's going to help with that, because then when you're rested, then we wake up in a better mood, and then we're going to be more focused on maybe doing the things that we need to do. But let's go a little bit more into detail about this mean girl, when you're talking about the mean girl, and where does she come from, and who is she?
So very similar to those sleep worries, right? Like this is just those, it comes from, again, the beliefs that we formed through childhood, through experiences, traumatic or not. This inner mean girl, I love asking the question, what is the voice? Whose voice are you hearing? Because so often, like, there are our parents, our teachers, our people in your past. It could be like different relationships that you've been in the past, because this voice is the conditioned criticism that we hear becomes conditioned as our own voice, the criticism that we hear. It becomes those self-doubts. It becomes that the inadequacy thing. You're not enough, right? You're not smart enough. You're not strong enough. You're not beautiful enough. You're not a good enough mom, right? That is a huge thing a huge belief that can impact every decision we make. When you have that mean girl screaming in the back of your mind, she can really keep you playing small and keep you in that comfort zone and not moving forward to who you were meant to be, what your greatest potential is. That mean girl can be powerful. And so in order to take back that power, we need to be aware, we need to recognize what it is that she's saying to us. I keep a chart, like not a chart, a list next to my desk in my office that says, I can do hard things. And on that list, I list about 15 things that through my life that I have done that when I initially set out to do, I was like, this is hard. I wanted to give up. Like it was things like that there were hard times during it, but then at the end, I was able to do it. Like on my list is things like I got my college degrees. I went to a very hard prestigious like high school. I trained for 4 half marathons, ran 3 of them, completed 3 half marathons. I gave birth. I carried babies. I carried 6 babies in my stomach, which being pregnant is hard. I stayed in a committed relationship for 24 years. And that's something my husband, when he reads my list, is it really, you put that on your list? Like he gave me grief about that. And I was like, it is hard. I don't know what planet you're on, but this is hard. Look at the divorce rate. Like clearly we're doing something and we work through the hard times. And I'm like, but there's things on that list that are like, just as that reminder that we can do hard things. And I like to refer to that list when things are getting hard because life is full of ebbs and flows. And there's going to be times where I want to give up. Like in my business, I just want to burn it all sometimes and just be like, forget. But it's going back to that why and going back to that believing that I am more and I'm meant for more. And it was those shifts in those beliefs that have allowed me to be able to do what I have done, to make it through those hard pieces. So the reason I say that is because when we get caught up, when the mean girl has her power, when we give in to the mean girl, right? When she holds the cards or she holds the power and we continue to play small, it's at those times that we're only focusing on what has been our perception so far. And what I mean by that sounds a little bit confusing. Let me think of a better way to say that. We are focusing in on the evidence that supports what the mean girl is saying, right? And in order to take back our power, we need to start looking at other evidence because it exists, right? She's saying that you're not a good enough mom. There is so much evidence out there that says that you are an amazing mom. But when she's holding the power, you are going to start focusing on all of the reasons why you are not a good enough mom. And that focus is going to just continue to give power to her. And by her, I mean those beliefs and the thoughts that you're having. So you want to shift your focus. You want to start shifting on those things that make you an amazing mom. And there is plenty of evidence. And I want you to take a look at like, how are you defining a good mom? I want you to treat yourself with some self-compassion, some self-forgiveness, and start redefining like that good mom. I don't want you to lower your standards, but I want you to start treating yourself like you would a good friend and start talking to yourself like you would a good friend. Start seeing like, dude, dude, no, man, I am a great mom. And this is why. Like, I am ensuring that my kids get this good education. And before I made them like, you're a bad mom because you're yelling at your kids to get out the front door and you're always late for everything, right? And I want you to stop that and tell the mean girl, stop, take back your power and start shifting the way you're focusing and start shifting what you're saying to yourself. and start
Love
focusing
that.
on all of that evidence that supports. You're just not focusing on it right now. And there's lots
And again, we're just conditioned to focus on the negative, aren't
yeah,
we? It's again
yeah.
so common. I love that your list because
Mhm.
yes, because we don't generally pat ourselves on the back, do we, for a job well
No,
done, and we forget it, and
no. And it's
then
almost
so having that.
culturally enforced not to give yourself credit. They're like, oh, she's bragging or she's egotistical or narcissist, like all of these things. And then we're like, we cower, like we avoid giving ourselves credit when it's due.
Actually, we should, and that's I love that because that's going to give you the motivation and inspire you to
Yes.
it's okay. That too was hard. Do you remember how? But
Mhm.
look, you did do it. So
Yeah.
actually, you can do that. I love it because yes, we again all these things that we've
Thank
saying no to self-care, saying no to giving us up. But
Mhm.
no, we've actually got to reverse it. And everybody is doing an amazing job. And there's
Yes.
so much to do these days, and probably more so now than
Yes.
years ago, to be fair, because there's so much going on. And again, feeling like you have to put them into
Yeah.
dance and gymnastics and this and that and the other. And yes, it's
Yeah.
great. Sometimes they actually don't want to go, do they?
I know. I've gotten to the point, like, I'm my oldest son, you would never let us do that, or why would you do that? And I'm like, I am a totally different mom to Gianna than I was for you. I'm sorry. You learn as you go. And I'm like, she was like in competition cheerleader, like our oldest competition cheerleading, Girl Scouts, dance. I can't even think. We were in a homeschooling co-op. Like we did a lot of things. And with our youngest, like I pick and choose. And then if it gets to a point where I don't want to go to this. And I'm like, okay, like, why am I dragging you to this? If you don't want to do that, then you don't want to do that. I'm
Well, this
past
is
that.
the way I see it. It's this life. It is this buffet. Go and choose the right thing for you. We'll try that. Oh, you didn't like it. Okay, try
Yeah.
something different. It doesn't have to be it can work both ways. My daughter now does say, oh, maybe I shouldn't have given up gymnastics. And I'm thinking, damn, I let
Yeah.
that go. But you've just got to go with, again, what I'm hearing from you is there is no right or wrong.
There isn't.
But remember
Giving
the
yourself
things
that
you
grace.
do well. Yeah, give yourself
Mhm.
that grace. Be a
Mhm.
little bit,
Yeah.
and I love that what you said earlier about giving yourself compassion. I think that's
Yeah.
massive.
I think it's funny what you said about the gymnastics thing, because I just found out. So I'm taking piano lessons right now because I'm like, I want to learn piano. And I was home recently and my mom was like, didn't you take piano lessons when you were little? I'm like, I don't know. Did I? And like, I couldn't remember. And I was like, that was probably one of those moments where I was probably crying. And my mom was like, listen, you don't have to do it anymore. And I just gave up on it. But the thing is, if your daughter wants to do gymnastics, there's probably like adult gymnastics class or like something that's similar that she may be able to go do. Like we don't need to do it all. Go to the gym. Like we don't have to do it all and be like we don't have to do it all as moms. We don't.
Yeah.
We can pick and choose. And it really comes down to asking ourselves, is this really what I want? And this is what I need for myself and for my family. And really reassessing, being aware of what it is that you want and need, and not just trying to live up to those unrealistic expectations that are keeping you in a state of stress and overwhelm.
And that's what I'm getting from this conversation is,
Yeah.
you don't have to, there is nothing to live up to. There is no
Yes.
imaginary line that we're all aiming for.
No.
So anything else that any other things that people can do to quieten this little mean girl?
I say just the main thing is just making time to be able to reflect, to become aware of what are the thoughts that you're having that are preventing you from living big. And giving yourself, like asking yourself, what do I need? That's a huge one. We don't ask ourselves that. We just go on autopilot. And then we're
I was going to
burned
say,
out.
it sounds like from what you're sharing that actually we just need to ask ourselves things a little bit more as well.
Yeah.
So
check
for the
in with
listeners, your Mum with Capes movement,
Yes.
can you share a little bit about that, how people can come and join?
Sure.
Yeah,
so Moms Without Capes, because we're taking off our super mom capes. Yeah.
I said the other way around, Mum with Capes.
No, we're working against the super mom syndrome.
Sorry.
So
Mum Without Capes. Get it wrong.
That's okay. So I have a podcast. So if you're a podcast listener, Moms Without Capes, it can be found on anywhere you listen to podcasts, I think. I'm pretty sure it can be found on all major podcast platforms. And that's where I help you take off your supermom cape. So we talk a lot about that perfectionism, people pleasing, mental health, resetting, a huge one, right? So all the things. And you can find me there. I also can be found on Instagram and Facebook, both at Moms Without Capes. I've got a Facebook community, a growing Facebook community. I show up, do Facebook Lives. We do lots of fun events. I have a book club that we do. Also, I do challenges a few times a year. We just wrapped up a Claim Your Me Time challenge, which was a brand new challenge for this year. I'll run it a few times this year. So when you're listening to this, come join my Facebook group. I love being there, and I know that a lot of my members love being there too. So I get great feedback from it. So come and join the fun.
Fantastic. It's been, fascinating. And I can remember feeling some of those things that you're describing there. And it's all a journey, isn't it? None of us, we don't get training to be mums. There isn't, and there isn't
no
one
instruction
way.
manual.
No, there was no book. They didn't come with a book, did they? They just didn't come out with a manual.
Yeah.
And of course,
I was going to say when I started, when I was like, what should I do? What should I focus on? I was like, I guess I can help moms with mom stuff. And I was like, no, I'm like, I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm like, that's not something that I want. I'm like, maybe I can help them navigate the feelings of motherhood. Like the thing, I'm like, I can handle that. So I've been doing that. But yeah, there is no instruction manual. We are kind of
we're doing the best we can with the information that we have at the time, and that's all any of us can do. Exactly. But what I'm hearing from what I'm taken away from this is, you've got to take time out for self-care. Mm-hmm. It's going to have a ripple effect, so it's going to improve everything. It's going to help you prioritize then the rest of the things that you've got to do. So thank you for your time today. It's been lovely speaking with you. Likewise. And to the listeners, guys, look, if you're a coach or a therapist or a healer and you have a message that you want to get out there, because there's plenty of people that need to hear it, come and have a chat with us. If you want your own show on Mintwave Radio, or we can create your own podcast, come and have a chat. I will be back tomorrow. Not long. We will be back tomorrow with a coffee with Karen. So thank you for your time. Bye for now.
Coffee with Karen podcast, a weekly chat show discussing everything from holistic health to current affairs from a mental, physical and spiritual perspective. Get your weekly cup of positivity with a sprinkling of woo.